up your engines! Yes, all good things must come to an end. You notice I got a different outfit on today? It's moving day. Leaving Houston, going to Tennessee. Time to say goodbye to the garage, goodbye to the great backyard, goodbye to the old house. Our kids grew up there. All kinds of things happened. Now, sadly, it's going to be torn down, and they're going to build 2 townhomes here. Just like they've already done last year behind me. There they are, hiding behind my bamboo. And goodbye inside of the house. Jeez, and I just bought that stove a couple of years ago. Well, can't win them all. Salvage men can have a field day. Couldn't bring everything with me. I gave away a bunch of stuff. There's still a bunch of stuff here. They can have fun. You can even have the new window air conditioner I put in. So, goodbye, garage. One last closing. So I'm bringing my gloves and my swimming trunks, headed to a lake on Tennessee. But don't worry, I'm still going to be making car videos. I'm still going to be answering all your car questions. I'm just not going to be doing it out of Houston anymore. Things are getting a bit too urbanized around here. Too many Porsches and Lamborghinis for my tastes. I'm going to Tennessee, the volunteer state, where people are more akin to my philosophy. And away we go! And here we go down the road on the way to Tennessee. Now we gotta fill her up. Here we go. Big old pump on this baby. Gotta say, it's a great truck. It's only got about 59,000 miles on it. Give it to these Penske guys. They rent good equipment. Day 2. The sun's rising. Halfway there on the road to Tennessee. And I have to say, I'm impressed by this International diesel. This thing's getting about 11 miles a gallon fully loaded. And you don't have to stop much. Got a 50-gallon tank on it. And you know what it cost me? It cost me just about what guys wanted to ship my motorcycle alone, my Triumph. I pay for it. I don't take any freebies for advertising. I researched all the companies out there, thought that Penske looked like the best one, and I have to say, they are the best one. Nice truck, excellent shape, but the same price I wanted just to ship my motorcycle. The motorcycle's in there and so's a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, the sun is starting to shine on the back of the truck, so it's time to get going again. America no longer has covered wagons. It has trucks. Well, I finally made it. Ta-da! Now I have to move all my crap from there into here in the new 2-car garage next to my new stone cottage. And of course it has air conditioning. Scotty is civilized there, or you might say wimpy. I'm not living in some old cold stone cottage in the winter and hot in the summer. It's got heated air conditioning. It's a shower too. First out comes a fan because it's humid in Tennessee too. And check it out, my Triumph motorcycle. It found its old friend, the racing Suzuki that's been rusting in the dust for a while. Have to get it back up and running again. And my son's reunited with his flight helmet. It's getting there, it's almost done. Listen to the sound. And now it's empty. Locked in. Well, now I gotta unload all this mess. Got some new friends here. This is Daisy, this is Duke. And look, now I've got a 2-car garage to fill up with junk. And a Ranger to crate it all around. Boy, my wife's not gonna like this. And if any of you happen to be in Tennessee and you wanna have me check out your car, feel free to email me. Same email, ScottyKilmer@gmail.com. Because the only thing I'm changing is my location. I'm still gonna be the same old Scotty, answering your questions, checking out your cars, just in a different location where there's actually hills and mountains and beautiful lakes, unlike flat Houston. Who knows, maybe I'll get in shape going up and down the mountains. And here's some bonus questions and answers. It's Elliot Palumbo, and he says, speaking of the Generation 2 Viper GTS, Scotty, someday I want to hear the truth and problems of the V10 muscle car, which is my dream muscle car, and it's easy to work on too. Okay, well, they were very fast. They didn't make that many of them. They didn't sell that many of them. But they had all kinds of engine problems. I got a customer who was foolish enough to buy 2 of them. He bought 2 of them. Both of them, the engines went out, and he's still in the process of suing Dodge because they didn't fix them right. They said they worked on it, then they said it was his fault. You get a car that they don't make that many of them. When they have problems, believe me, they'll pass the buck as much as they can because they're not dealing with millions of people. Only a few people bought those cars, so they'll often blow you off. You think you're getting a great car and it's fast, kind of like a Ferrari, right? Ha! Buy one and watch it fall apart in front of your eyes. And don't think old Ferrari Motor Company's going to be fixing it for free either. That's the problem. They are fun to drive, they look cool, but they were pretty much a massive failure. And like I say, the customer of mine, he's still suing them. It's been in court for years. You don't want to get involved in that kind of crap. Donovan King says, I have an '01 Subaru Forester, loses coolant. I've changed the radiator and radiator cap. I think it might be the water pump because I see drips on the ground. Okay, what you want to do is, if a guy like me pressure test it, we got pressure testing machines. You put it on the radiator and pump them up. Builds the pressure up, right? Then go to where the water pump is, see if it's dripping out of there. They have what are called weep holes. So when they go bad, instead of blowing the water pump out, knocking a hole in the radiator, they leak out of the weep hole. Do that and check that. Pray it's that, not the head gasket. So you pump it up and you see it seeping out of the side of the head gaskets, then you're going to need a head gasket. And Subaru's notorious for any head gasket problems. James Book says, please tell me if buying a 96 Nissan Altima for $500 with 155,000 miles is a good deal. Well, I'm not a Nissan fan, but back in 1996, they made them a lot better. I got customers that have 95, 96, 97s, have 250, 300,000, and they're still running okay. The only problem is, the guy that wants $500, maybe there's something wrong with it. You want to road test it, drive it, have a mechanic look at it, see what the mechanic says. And if he says it's okay, go ahead, because they can be pretty good cars. Back then, 96 was long before Renault took over Nissan. They had better quality back then. So, I mean, it could be an okay car. You never know. $500 is nothing for a car, but you do want to got to check it out. I mean, like if the head gasket's blowing or the transmission's going out, you wouldn't want to buy it at all. Avron Krovac says, Scotty got a 98 F-150 4x4 with a 5.4 liter engine. Oil seeping in my overflow jug. Could it be the oil cooler? You want to pray it's the oil cooler that's leaking internally, so engine oil then gets into the radiator. Because the only other thing that can do that is your head gasket's blowing, and then your engine is blowing and pumping it into the radiator. So you want to pray that that's what it is, that it's the oil cooler, and it's either cracked or a gasket's bad, and it's now getting coolant into the oil, and then it gets into the radiator. Pray it's that and not a blown head gasket. Dapper J says, thoughts on getting an 84 Toyota Supra manual as a weekend toy. It's a really old car, but they were really well made. Only, a lot of them had problems with the overhead cams wearing. You would want a mechanic to check the cams before you buy it. Because if the cams, they made soft cams. A lot of the cams wore out. If the cams are worn out, you got to rebuild the engine. That's a ton of money. Just understand, you don't want to buy one that has cam problems. And you also don't want to buy one that's rusted out. If it was here in Texas, you wouldn't care. It doesn't rust much unless you live on the ocean. Let's say you're getting a northern car. If it's rusted, walk away. You don't want a rusted Toyota. Once they rust, it's all over. Get the Cash says, gum out and Lucas oil fuel additives kept my car running like clockwork. Well, unfortunately, you're not being scientific. What you would have to do is have two of the same exact cars. One of them, put the additives in. One of them, don't put the additives in, and buy the same gasoline for both and see what happens. Because often, you don't need any kind of additives. I got an '07 Matrix, an '02 Lexus ES 300, and I've never used fuel or oil additives in any of them. And I had no problem. So, you know, a lot of that's wishful thinking. I remember years ago when I was on CBS TV, and a guy saw me and said, oh, Scotty, you're so great. He came over to my garage and he says, I got this thing that gets better gas mileage that I joined this company that sells it. Can you try it out? So I tried it out and I said, it doesn't do anything. I tried it on a dyno. I tried it at a racetrack. It does nothing. You don't get better gas mileage. You don't get worse gas mileage. He was claiming he got better gas mileage. So I got all mad, said, Scotty, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, geez, I was a genius before, right? What changed? He couldn't face the reality that the stuff was a scam and it really didn't do anything at all. If you got an old junker car that doesn't run right, you put cleaner in it, it might help cleaning carbon out and stuff, right? Because it's an old junker. But if you're like me, you take care of your car, change the oil, maintain them. You really don't need to put cleaners in them. Stacey Antonio says, Scotty, can an engine get worn out quicker by starting and after not being started for longer periods, a couple of months? Yes, it definitely can. So, what a lot of people will do is, in the olden days, the spark plugs were real easy to get to. So, if you had a four-cylinder, you take the four spark plugs out, you'd spray some penetrating oil in each hole, turn the ignition system off, you'd crank the car. Then it would just spray the oil through the system, lubricate it, then you put the spark plugs in, and away you go. Modern cars, it's often very hard to get to the spark plugs. In that case, what a lot of guys will do is they'll just take the air filter off, and they'll spray a little spray lubricant in while they crank it, and that'll coat it with stuff. Because when they do sit, the metal will get dry. You want a little bit of coating in it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.